Raila in secret night talks. This is a working holiday that the president supposedly on at the coast. The president and the opposition leader did meet at the coast in the county of Kilifi, supposedly at Vipingo Ridge, and they had a 4-hour secret meeting. Dismas, what do you know about this?
Well, the fact that we are discussing it, it means that it's no longer a secret. But what we need to be asking ourselves is, what is this meeting all about? Is it about Mura and Wanjiko, or is it about their selfish interests? And one hopes that anytime President Kenyatta is having a conversation with Raila Odinga, it's actually about advancing the interest of all Kenyans. It's not about their cumulative selfish interest. And one expects that President Uhuru Kenyatta is going to take advantage of all the political capital and the political insurance given to him by Raila Odinga to take Kenya to the next level. So that if they're discussing about maybe fighting corruption, then we need to support them. If they're talking about a referendum, we need to give them support. But if they're having a conversation about their family businesses and selfish interest, then we must call them out. Because as a nation, we are not interested in leaders having meetings that do not take care of Wanjiko's interests.
Mark, do you think this will take care of Wanjiko's interests? Is this a development on that handshake? Is it proof that that partnership is continuing?
You're quite right, Ben. We can only build from the foundation that has already been set, and we know for a fact that the few times where Uhuru and Raila have met, what they have advanced is the handshake. From the first time in Harambee House when they did the handshake, the second time when they were at the prayer rally and they graduated to a hug, it can only be assumed that what they are discussing is in the same vein, because so far we've seen there is no intention of ODM folding up and becoming a subsidiary to Jubilee. We've not seen Raila Odinga acting as if he's about to get a CS position, as it were. So the reality of the matter is, I have to believe for now, based on the facts that I have seen, that the conversation is about Mora and Wanjiku and Maina and Nyongesa down in Western, because the country where it is, the fight against corruption, the big four, the freeze on spending on projects, there's so much that is happening. So I would imagine that when the two gentlemen meet, it is the country that is on the front page and not on the back page.
Hesbon, this happened on Thursday night. 2 days later, the Wiper Party had a NEC/PG meeting and resolved to support Jubilee's agenda, both the executive and in Parliament. Do you see this having anything to do with that meeting on Thursday?
Well, there's a sense in which President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga set the political tone in the country, and probably you'd understand when other political parties like Wiper now join the fray, because the conversations over the last few months since the handshake have been about development, and I think that electioneering period and issues to do with the election has come to a closure. And increasingly, people are beginning to look at this as something that is meant to benefit Wanjiku. And everyone is joining the fray, that if the two leaders are leading at the front and the conversations are about development, you realize that all other political players are basically running away from politicking and focusing on development anchored on the handshake. Over the last few weeks, I think the politicians who have traversed the country have just been talking about that. Moses Kuria was in Nyanza, and I think he was just talking about handshake and development, that is supposed to improve the agricultural activities and economic activities in Nyanza. And I think that is where Wiper is following, just to join into the development conversation and less of politics.
All right, so, Kipchumba, this Wiper says is in the spirit of the handshake. Is this good for the country?
Yeah, it is good
for the democracy.
For the country, yes, but for the democracy, no. Because at the end of the day, we must have people at both ends, and we must, for leadership to be meaningful to the populace, we must have people holding different or divergent views, which will, in return, spur us to better economic heights. But if all of us have to think in one way, it will be catastrophic. But I think that the coming of Wiper to join Uhuru Kenyatta as a president, to help him spearhead and move on, and to cement the foundation laid by Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, it is a good move. It should be emulated. But what I think should be done now is that Parliament should live to its duty, the oversight role. I hope that one is not being abdicated now that they have joined hands with President Uhuru Kenyatta.
No.
I hope they are joining hands with President Uhuru Kenyatta
Yes.
as far as development and going forward in this country is concerned.
All right.
But they should be able to have spine to call it out when there is something wrong.
All right, so that story is on the cover page of the Sunday Standard. You can check it out in more detail on page 6 of the Sunday Standard. On the Sunday Nation, the splash. Rift leaders see State House hand in Ruto troubles. Gentlemen, this story is not going anywhere anytime soon. Politicians who have spoken to the Sunday Nation, apparently allied to the Deputy President, seem to think that there's some underhand operations to make sure that the Deputy President does not ascend to power in 2022. Politicians saying that there's even a secretariat that has been formed with offices in Lavington and Gigiri to make sure that they lock Deputy President William Ruto from State House in 2022. Dismas, is this persists? This thing continues to persist. Does it mean it might grow ahead? Is it something that's real?
In my view, the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto needs to change his company. He's keeping horrible company. Because it's very clear, Kenya is not a monarchy. So we are going to have elections in 2022, assuming